I've never experienced this kind of pain before. A headache, sharp, sudden, intense pain in my forehead and skull. I felt it behind my eyeballs. It came out of nowhere and stayed for what felt like an eternity, but probably only lasted 2 minutes or so. Pain so acute and spontaneous that it scared the living daylights out of me. This is Overlooked, and I'm Golda Arthur. On the 29th of December, I took myself off to the emergency room after a blinding headache lit up my head. I went to my nearest emergency room, which was overcrowded and just plain awful. It's the kind of ER where you wonder if you're not just better off at home. But I stayed the course. Eventually, I spent about 7 hours there. I had developed a sudden sensitivity to light, and by this time, I had a dull throbbing in my head. At the ER, they gave me a CT scan, and as I was lying there under this huge, whirring, white, donut-shaped machine, I realized that this was my 5th time in an emergency room in 2025, but never for pain like this. The scan results showed no brain tumor, bleeding, swelling, or aneurysm, and that was a huge relief. They gave me pain medication and some fluids, all while I was sitting upright in a tiny, uncomfortable chair in the overcrowded, noisy waiting room. They inserted a needle in my left arm for the fluids, but with my right hand, I decided to do a Google search on my phone. And the irony of looking up your symptoms while at the ER and hooked up to an IV was not lost on me. Was it an ice pick headache? A thunderclap headache? Was it hormone related? Could it have something to do with the pinched nerve in my neck? Or my worsening eyesight? Or did it come on because I was burnt out? Google could answer none of these questions. And as it turned out, the folks at the ER couldn't either. They informed me that they don't give a diagnosis, but that I would have to follow up with a neurologist and get an MRI. All they could tell me was that I would live to fight another day. If the headache returned, they said, I was to come straight back to the ER and use the phrase, the worst headache I've ever had, so that triage would be sped up. Since then, 2 of my friends have told me that they have had similar headaches, unsettling headaches, unresolved headaches. And that's when I came to this realization. Sometimes extraordinary pain is almost ordinary pain for women. When you think you're going through something so off the charts and you mention it to one of your friends or to another woman and they say, oh, that happened to me too, but nobody can tell me why. Pain is a thread running through almost every episode of Overlooked. So I made a decision. This year, I'm going to deal with pain as a topic in a more direct way on this podcast, and not just because of my personal experience. I've often held back from asking deeper questions of my guests when it comes to pain. But this year on Overlooked, I'll dig into how we express it, what we know about it, and how we treat it. Pain in women's health is an enormous, overwhelming, and extraordinary topic. And this is the year I'm going to take a much closer look at it. And as for me, I'm doing okay. I have a neurologist appointment booked, and for now, I'm taking care of myself much better. Sleeping, eating, hydrating, all the things. I want to know your story about pain or what your questions are about pain in women's health. You can email hello@overlookedpod.com. And you can check out the show notes or my newsletter this week for links to some of the topics that I've mentioned here and for a deeper dive on all of this. In 2026, I'm wishing you the best of health. Overlooked is here for information and empowerment, but not medical advice. Every person's body is unique, so if you have questions, it is best to speak to your doctor or healthcare provider. We're building a community around women's health so that no one is overlooked. If you'd like to be part of it, hit the follow button on this podcast, wherever you're listening to this. Or you can show us some love by writing us a review and sharing this episode with someone. Overlooked is written and created by me, Golda Arthur. Jessica Martinez de Hoz is the show's producer. You can stay up to date with the show by signing up for the newsletter and following us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We read every review and email, so write to us, hello@overlookedpod.com. Thanks for listening.